Right, I am back on your screens. What's the light saying there? I am back on your screens in another location. I'm up at the famous Bluebell complex. I arrived up here about half an hour ago. I went into the shop, got a sticker on my bucket, went for a walk, which is whilst I'm a little bit out of, not whilst, which is while I'm a little bit out of breath. And I found a peg. I'm going to go and fish next to Trev, the bailiff, who fishes on Mallard. I've not seen Trev for quite some time now, and it's always nice to come up here and fish with Trev, just catch up with him, and yeah, just have a social. You know, we're into November now, which means that it gets dark very early, and as much as I love carp fishing at this time of year, sitting in the bivvy for 12-14 hours on your own in the pitch black can be a little bit boring. So if I can have a social this time of year, I always like to socialise. A little bit of Anastasia playing here on the old radio, bit of a blast from the past. So yeah, I'm all sorted, all set. I'm going to go to the swim now. I'm going to get set up. I don't really need to show you all of that because everyone knows what it looks like setting a bivvy up. Get some rods out, and you know one of the beauties with fishing up at Bluebell, I can use my bait boat. And I know what you're all thinking, oh bloody hell, using a bait boat, but everywhere I go fishing normally is casting. So for me, it's nice to go somewhere, chill out, chuck my rigs in old Cecil the vessel, send them on out there, clip the bobbins on, and just chill out and have a good time. So yeah, let's go fishing. Do with a bit of fuel in the old wagon. Tell you what though, I'm racking up them miles, nearly 90k. The van's only 3 years old. There's the famous reception. So it works a little bit different up here at Bluebell, just for those of you that haven't been here. So when you come through the gate, you have to drive down to this building here, which is reception. See the guys in the office, you get a sticker for your bucket, which then means that you can go walking round and you can put that bucket in a swim to reserve it before coming back around to the office to sort your ticket out, and then you can go fishing. So yeah, a little bit different, but it works really well, and it means the guys know exactly where all the anglers are, and there isn't no one coming on and off the complex without paying or without sort of sneaking on, so they know who's here so they can account for everybody on the complex. So it's nice and safe, nice and secure. I'm going to stop waffling because I'm going fishing on that lake there, Mallard. Right, well the scene is set. Rods are out, got them out in double quick time, but I suppose you can when you're using a bait boat. Try my new one out, Salve. I think that's how you say it. It's got an all built-in, proper technical handset. Got an echo on it. I'm just about to sit down with the instruction manual and try and work out exactly how to use it, because it's quite a bit of kit this. So yeah, the rods are out. Like I say, I know what you're all thinking, oh, you've got a bait boat, it's easy fishing. Yep, that's exactly what I want after having a, not a stressful year, because I can't ever say that I'm very stressed, but after having a very busy year. So I've got these out there, only just over 100 yards, 28 wraps there too. Just fishing in that big U in the trees over there. Been plenty of fish out there, 16 foot, and well, 16.4 feet it is out there. See a few on the echo sounder, but I don't know, as much as I want to believe in them echo sounders, sometimes I just find it hard to believe that they work. I know they do work, but in my own head it's like, I've seen carp show there, so I know they're there, but obviously I see them on the echo as well. I'm actually pretty set up, like beyond sort of the comfort level I would normally go to. So I've got the skull cap on. I even put a ground sheet in. Now I never ever normally put a ground sheet in, but I'm going for pure comfort. I've got 2 pillows there. I like the bottom pillow as the base, and then I'm sure a lot of us do it, fold the top one, sort of fold it in half so we can sort of just elevate the head a bit. That's what I do anyway. And then got everything else there ready to rock and roll. Got my little pop-ups, what I've gone for them little bad boys, 12mm peach and peppers. Actually, I got that completely wrong. I've gone for them bad boys, 12mm pineapple and embuteric. Now when I was here last time, that's what I caught on, so it makes perfect sense to start on them. Roll of tissue, I know what you're all thinking. So there you go. Well set up, got my bait down there. As you can probably tell, got a few worms with me, got the old snippers there. Got some hemp and corn in one, and I've got some washed out boilie in the other. And I'm literally just hooking little bloodworm pellet bags on, little spinners, trundling them out there. Oh, it's so nice to be back and chilling. Got a rig here up against the bivvy. As you can see there, the old spinner rig. Barbless size 4 crank. There's my little pineapple pop-up. And we've got ourselves a carp. First one of the trip. Rod's been out about hour and a half, I reckon. If that. Not massive, but it is a carp. And where there's one, there's more. There he is in there. I don't know, probably a low double, I reckon. But one thing that I always say with carp fishing, and this applies to everybody, and it does wind me up when I see people say, small 20 from last night. So actually, appreciate every fish you catch, because the next bite could be a 40, and I've had to put the same amount of effort in to catch this one as what I would do a bigger one. So appreciate every fish you catch. I'm going to get the rod back out, we'll get him out, and we'll have a little goose. Lovely. Well, here we go, here's the first one of the trip. Trev's story's playing in the background. There we go. Nice. What do you reckon he is, Trev? 14?
Yeah, 14, 15, mate.
Hopefully first of many.
Yeah, it's a nice little one. These was VNS, we stocked them in February, these was. We've got some more coming in this next February, 150 more coming in. Yeah, they're bonny looking fish. Lovely when they get to 30. You imagine that at 30, look at the wrist on it, that single scale, look.
Won't be long.
No, not be long, mate. They seem to do well in Mallard. I think there's about 250 of them now.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Let's get another one. Well, as we can see, it is another flat, calm day. I had a full 12 hours sleep before being woken up by another carp. A little bit bigger this one, probably nearer 20 pound this one, which is another, like I say, appreciate fish of all sizes, especially when it's not fishing great like it isn't now. But the beauty with coming somewhere like Mallard is there's always bites to be had. I've just re-dropped all the rods. Bluebell Bailiff legend Trev is there. Absolute hero, this guy. Hero. Right, we're going to get him out, have a little look at him, see what the day brings. I might even move or go and have a look at one of the other lakes yet. I'm undecided, but there we go. Another nice carp in the old net. Nice scaly. We've got some more little babies coming along here. There he is then, number 2, a really nice low 20, look at that. How nice is that? The stamp of fish in Mallard is unbelievable. My last trip on here, I actually had 5 or 6 over 30 pound. Alright, this trip isn't as productive just yet, but that's the sort of fishing you can expect here. And even after the floods, and with proper pants weather, you can still catch a few fish. So yeah, lovely. Look at that. Hopefully there's a few more. Rods are back out there now. Fish are still showing. What more do you want? Right, a little bit of an update now of what's going on. So obviously I'm up at Mallard on the Bluebell complex, which most people would probably know. It's probably one of the more prolific lakes on the complex, but the weather that we're having at the minute is absolutely pants. I've never known such a prolonged period of really high air pressure and sort of minimal wind. I mean, this lake's 30 acres, give or take, maybe a little bit less. There isn't a breath of wind on it, which is mega rare. You know, a big lake like this normally would attract some form of ripple, and even when the air pressure's high, you know, a ripple on the lake is always good. And I think where it's so stagnant, the fish can hear every bit of sort of banging of car doors around, and I always feel that when it's flat calm, it just puts the fish more on edge. You know, there's so many theories as to why fish shut up shop. For me, I certainly think that high air pressure is undoubtedly the worst conditions to go carp fishing in. But as you've already seen, there is always, excuse me, that's the kind of Red Bull there. There's always chances of a couple of bites, just changing the direction of the camera. There's always chances of a couple of bites. I'm going to stick it out because I'm nice and comfortable. I've got my ground sheet down, so I've like put the extra effort into setting up my bivvy nice and comfortable. But I'm just fishing for one bite at a time. So all I'm doing inside the boat, and I am using a boat because I want it nice and easy, I want it nice and chilled, is I'm literally just fishing with one of them pineapple embuterics on a spinner, little bag of 2.3mm bloodworm, and then all I'm doing is when I put the rig into the boat, just putting like a little nest of 2.3mm bloodworm pellets down, just to stop any water that does come through the hopper melting my PVA bag. And then all I'm doing to that is literally adding a pinch of corn, so probably 25-30 grains of sweet corn, a little bit of hemp, and then I'm adding a few casters in there as well, keeping it very, very simple. And all I'm doing just to garnish that off is I'm just putting 5 crushed 12mm manila in. And the reason why I'm only using a small amount of bait is because obviously all of that will sink at different speeds. When you're using a boat, it always panics me that when the boat spins to come back home, that the vortex that it creates pushes the bait far and wide. So I've got a few heavier items in there. I've obviously got a bit of natural item in there as well. And it's worked so far. You know, the lake's fishing at present tricky. I think the only 2 carp that have been caught since I've been here are the 2 that I've had. They're out in front of me, but I think they're up off the bottom. Well, in fact, I know they're off the bottom because it's high air pressure. But I don't want to be fishing zigs that long. I could cast zigs out to where I'm fishing, but there's still quite a lot of weed present in the margins, and that last fish I had to give it a bit of grief to get it through. So I don't want to be fishing for the carp unsafe, although I do think I would catch probably more fish by using zigs. But one thing that I've learned over the years is by sticking down fishing on the bottom, if there's a big one to be caught, it's coming out off the bottom. So the 2 that I've had so far, like I say, they haven't been massive in terms of what modern day carp anglers would sort of count as massive, but for me, every single carp, I appreciate it. And that's why I fish the places that I do, you know, because I love catching carp of any size, and if a big one comes along, a big one comes along. So it's been nice to get a couple of bites. I know what I'm doing's working. It's nice actually just to be chilling out. So yeah, that's enough of me rambling. I'm going to get a little bit of prep done now, tie a couple more booms up for the old spinners, and hopefully we can put another carp on the bank. Right, change of scenery, smaller leads, shorter rig. I don't know why I'm using a shorter rig, but I just feel like trying it. But I am here now on Swan. Wasn't really feeling it on Mallard, don't get me wrong, I know I caught a couple, but Bluebell's nearly 4 hours from my house, and like whenever I come up here, like I've been up here, it's my 4th time I think visiting here now. Swan has got so many big carp in. And I've seen a few fish fizzing out here as well. Where's that tree there? Hoping it sort of zooms in and maybe there's a fizzer up out there at the minute, or some few little bubbles coming up around that sort of area there. So yeah, there's fish out in this sort of area, but the air pressure at the minute there is exceptionally high. It's like upwards of 1,040. I think a lot of lakes, the fish seem to be right in the upper layers, but I'm not going to fish zigs, I'm going to fish down on the bottom, because if you get a bite out of here... Oh, let me just talk to you a minute. Let me address the situation here. Yeah, I just think if I get a bite out of here, there's every chance it could be a really good fish. I'm not even putting a bivvy up tonight, I'm literally sleeping straight out the back of the van. Because if they move in the night, I want to be able to move with them. Make the most of it. And I know I keep referring back to the bait boat, but it's so easy. And I'm sitting here now not panicking about getting the rods out, just sort of letting the fish tell me where they want to be, and I know that I can very, very quietly drop rigs over them and hopefully catch a carp. I've got good track record here on Swan. This is my 3rd trip on it. In the first 2 trips I've had a 40-pounder both times, so it'd be nice to carry that on, but just to get a bite out of it, especially now of how it's been fishing, would be really, really a great achievement. So thought I'd just set the scene. There's the old van, again, nice and close, which is what we like. Nice and comfortable. Rigs, again, exactly what I was catching over on Mallard. Spinner rigs, yellow pop-ups, and then in the boat, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of sort of crumbed krill, a few grains of corn, a little bit of hemp, some 2.3mm bloodworm, and then just a sprinkling of casters in there as well. So a very, very basic mix, just fishing for 1 bite at a time. And yeah, I could cast to these fish, you know, they're only sort of 15, 16 wraps from the bank, but I want to make it as quiet as possible. Drop them rigs in there without making any sort of disturbance, and hopefully catch myself a swan carp. So yeah, here's hoping for a swan carp. Well, we've got 3 rods out still, but we've only got the 3 out because I've just re-dropped one, because we have got a Swan Lake carp down there in that net. Now, I didn't do a lot of chatting yesterday when I got set up, because I sort of waited around until I could sort of pinpoint where they were, and this was the area where quite a lot of fish were sort of showing and fizzing. So I used the old bait boat, and all I done was just deployed 3 little traps out there. So as we look out there, that big gap on the right, 1 in there, 1 in the middle, and 1 to that big tree, all at the same distance, roughly where I'd seen all the fish showing and moving. And yeah, we have got ourselves a carp. Now, it hasn't been fishing great on here, so to have caught one is a major, major result. Again, it's not a massive carp, but I don't care. A carp out of here is a real achievement. I'm going to have a cup of tea. As you can see, it's still quite dark. Slept outside last night because I'm nice and brave. Oh, excuse me. The brew kit's there. Got the old van here. But yeah, just got my sleeping bag cover out. The last time I took this was when I took the dog. So my end is nice and clean. Where the dog is is horrible and muddy. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I love him to bits. But it is a bit annoying, isn't it? And I'm sure for those of you that are watching this that take their dog, you will know exactly what it's like. They like the bed chair. Their paws like the mud, like to attract the mud. Therefore, it turns everything horrible. But anyway, on the positive side, we've got ourselves a carp. Oh, just had a little nibble down there as well. It's the first bleep I've had since putting that rod back out about 20 minutes ago. Probably the line settling, probably getting a little bit too excited, but anyway, I don't care now because I've had a fish from Swan. Voila! Well, here we go. Swan Lake mirror carp. Lovely fish, this one. Bit lively, but that is what you come for. Look at that bad boy. Lovely. Well worth the move over from Mallard onto here. I'm going to see how the day pans out. What I'm probably going to do, and that might sound mad, is pack up, maybe go and have a look at the other lakes, and probably not set up again till it gets dark. Find them like I did last night, set up on them, and hopefully catch another one. Lovely. Off you go. Lovely. Well, I've had to wait a little bit of time, but we have got another carp. I'm shaking because it's a really nice one as well. See one show out where I'm fishing. Literally had a liner and then bang. We've got another swan carp. So the old right under there's missing. All of the kit is actually packed away. A couple more people are set up. Someone next door. And if we zoom in opposite, what's in that one there? Is that one there? No, wrong spoon. That one there, we can see another bucket. As is always the case, if you get a bite, there'll be a few people around, but I don't mind that. Pushes the carp around, so it's all good. Right, let's hoist him out and have a little look. Well, here's the second one. Have a look at this. This is what Swan Lake's all about. Just under 31 pound of glorious autumn mirror carp. Mad that. See one show, get a liner, get a bite. I wonder if it was the same fish. You'll never know. But how nice is that? It's going to be a bit active. I'm going to get him back. What a result. 2 venues, or 2 lakes on the same complex, 2 nights, 2 bites out of each one. Lolly. Right, well, believe it or not, I'm actually going to go 3 nights, 3 different lakes. I've just come for a drive round after catching that other one from Swan, and there was a few people, like I say, turned up. So I've not gone for that reason, but I just think the fish are going to move, and I don't want to sort of spend another sort of 3-4 hours sort of waiting for them to show again on there. When I'm here, I might as well have gone another lake, which I know might seem mad, but I've just come around to Kingfisher, and a couple of pegs are free on here, and I've seen a couple of fish show. So it's about 3:15, 4:45 now, so we've only got like half an hour, maybe 40 minutes left of light, which isn't a lot of time. But the beauty of a bait boat is I can put my rods out nice and easy at night. See, already I've done 48 hours across 2 lakes, Mallard and Swan, caught carp from both of them. Here's hoping we can go 3 nights, 3 lakes, 3 fish, or more than 3 fish because I've already caught 4. Or I'm going to wake up in the morning and think, what an idiot, I should have just stayed on Swan. But either way, I've gone to the shop, got myself a bottle of Coke, got a couple of Kit Kat chunkies. I'm ready for another night. Right, you're going to have to excuse the poor lighting. I've literally just got the rods out. I've waited as long as possible to sort of start seeing them. The only problem is they haven't really shown anywhere near where I am. I see 1 or 2 earlier on when I had a walk round in the day, but definitely as the evening's drawn on, they've pushed over to that far side. I'm in peg. Oh, where's my torch? Move my torch on the post. I'm in peg number 8. So we'll have to see how it goes. Really clear out in front. Not going to lie, use the echo sounder to find the areas. There's like a sort of 15.5 feet it is, and then it comes up to 13. So I've gone up on top of the shallow a bit. About 17.5, 18 wraps I reckon it is. I literally just deployed 3 little yellow pop-ups, exactly what I've been catching on out there. And then that's about it really. Bit of bait over the top, but the fish are all showing sort of along the far side, but there's a few anglers over there. Well, there's actually about 12 on. It's really, really busy tonight. There's only the peg I'm in and the one to the left is actually empty on the whole lake. Typically, the fish are not in front of these two, but with all the pressure, I'm not making excuses, they could easily appear in front of me. So rods are out. Can I make it? 3 venues in 3 nights, a carp from every one of them. Give me dinner. Unfortunately, my salad started to turn. Oh well, don't need that anyway. Nice bit of cremated chicken for afters. Got a little bit of milk and hazelnut chocolate, 7 bars, of which I will eat all 7 in super quick time. Right, well, slightly, my hair's grown slightly, should I say, from last time. That is because this is now a different session. I sort of let my ambition cloud my capabilities, for want of a better phrase, last time. Went on to Kingfisher, hoping to be the hero. 3 nights, 3 different lakes, catching from all 3 of them. It didn't happen. I ate those chicken cremated wraps, what I ended up eating. Went to bed, woke up in the morning, packed up. But anyway, we are back up on Bluebell. But the weather has taken a drastic turn for the worse. When I was here last, it was sort of double figures, high air pressure, but dry. Got here yesterday evening. I don't leave early in the morning to come here anymore because it is so far from me. If I leave at 3 in the morning to get here for sort of just before the gates open, I end up knackered for the first day. So I just have a little lay in, leave about 9 o'clock, get up here sort of 1ish, 2 o'clock after I stopped in the shop and got a few bits and pieces. And yeah, I had a little look around, and it is freezing. I knew it was going to come in even colder, and I'm sitting here now, and I'm quite thankful that this gimbal's got sort of a electric magnet, whatever it does, to level it up, because if I didn't have this, the camera, let me tell you, would just be going like this all the time. It'd be proper shaking. It's freezing. So yeah, I'm back on Mallard, trundled the rods out, had the first one, so I've actually caught, which is even more of a result. I had one about 15-18 pound about 2 o'clock this morning. Put that back. I was going to get my phone out because I like to just do like a little record, just, you know, of reference really. Not that I've got anything to prove to anyone, but I just like to do a little reference. But it was that cold, I think, that as I was filming it, I'd probably end up throwing the phone out my hand. I was shivering that much. And yeah, set my alarm for sort of 6:30, 6:45, just before first light, to redo the other rod. Or to redo the rod that I caught the fish on, should I say. And as I'm sort of sitting here fumbling around getting the boat and that ready, the left hand rod went, got that one in, really nice scaly 20, and then the right hand rod went, and that one is sitting in the retainer. I reckon he's probably a close 30, if not over. So I've now redropped all the rods. It's a little after first light. I'm going to go and get old Trev down the bank and get these fish out and have a little look. But yeah, what a result. So it's been nice to spend. Oh, let me just rest your arm in there a bit because I'm a little bit hurting my arm. It's been nice to spend a few weeks up at Bluebell. You know, like, I didn't really have anywhere that I wanted to particularly focus on this year, as I don't really any year. You know, I just go fishing to places that I enjoy. But it's been nice to do a few trips. You know, I've had a 30 out of Swan, looking like I'm going to get a 30 out of Mallard, and I can sort of leave it now for a while up here and think, you know what, I've had a right touch, put a bit of effort in, caught a few carp, and enjoyed myself as well. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, now I've had to have a can of Red Bull. I don't promote drinking energy drinks. But I was that cold when I woke up this morning. I just needed something to give me a little bit of a rev up. So I've been sat here huddling the cooker for the last 20 minutes. Had a can of Red Bull. Now I feel like I could jump in and swim across the lake. I don't really, but it's absolutely freezing. And I don't know about anyone else, but like, obviously as time goes on, we all get older. It's just gone from a point where I felt like I could just stand out in shorts and t-shirt to now where I want all my home comforts. And like, I'm only 33, so I'm not even old really, am I? But I just feel like I'm getting old, and I'm getting old quick. I just need to sort of diet out as well. I know I say it all the time, but obviously now we're engaged, got a wedding. I don't want to be looking like a, you know, like a marshmallow dressed in a suit for my wedding photographs. So I think there's definitely, there's definitely some improvements that need to happen there. And I think that probably won't feel a lot better in myself actually, but my willpower when it comes to stuff like that is pretty low. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling, spin this camera around, show you the view of the lake. Not really much to see. It's just literally grey and misty. We'll get these fish out, and I'll show you. Fishing letterbox style. There's the old rods back out, look. Looking very nice. Very good, very nice. And there we go. Always like to do that when I've got one in a retainer. I don't normally use them, but just separating it. Right, like I say, I got down to Swan yesterday. Got down to Bluebell yesterday. And I knew it was going to be cold, but Jesus Christ, I didn't think it was going to be this cold. 3 carp, put a smaller one back. Had 2, like I say, first light this morning. I should have beat then. Check this one out, 27.5 pound. This is the reason you come up to Bluebell. And it's amazing that this Mallard that I'm on now isn't busier, because there's a lot of carp in here and the fishing is easy. I don't mean easy as in easy to catch them, but they're catchable. But the access, park behind your swim, you can use a bait boat and you can chill out. Have a look at this for a carp. Look at that. 27 pounds of Mallard's finest. And the one I got in the retainer is even bigger than this one. Lovely times. Right, well, I said the second one, well, the third one that I'd landed is a bit bigger. And right, it is a bit bigger as well. 35 pounder. And we're going to class this as a proper winter capture. To the point where I'd say it's a snow capture, because there's a lot of snow round about in the country at the minute. It might not have landed here at Bluebell, but there's snow in England, so this is a snow capture. Proper bad boy unit, this. Kick him right off. Come on. Always best to keep hold of them. Sort of let them know that you're boss. Amazing when they kick how strong carp are. Look at that. 35 pound of Mallard's finest. Told you it was worth the trip up here, didn't I? Look at that. That'll do for me. Ha. Right, well, I'm sat in the old vehicle, and the reason is because I've just taken a trip down to GR Eggs, as the Americans would say. Taking a little trip down to Greg's. Greg's Pizza is unrivaled. I don't care what anybody says, Greg's Pizza is next level. Just had 4 slices. Quite big slices as well. But the reason why I'm on, or updating you, is I have packed up and I've moved swims. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, why are you moving for? You've had 3 bites where you are, a couple of really nice fish. That wind is Baltic, and I can almost fish the same sort of water from the opposite side. Well, not opposite side, but like opposite to my left, if you like, for those of you that know Mallard, peg 10. And the wind is directly off my back, and I've just been round there and settled my kit up before I get the rods out, come down and get myself a little Greg's, and it is about 10 degrees warmer. And on the plus side, and you're going to think here, oh, technology is ruining carp fishing. It isn't. Technology is in everyday life, and I will use technology in anything if I feel it helps me a little bit. I sent the bait boat out. What did it see on the fish finder? Fish. Never see a single fish over where I was before. Granted, I caught. I'm probably going to move around here and catch absolutely nothing, but I've got a belly full of pizza. Got one of these. Again, unrivaled. There's only a few garages that sell these. It's more like the Londisi type garages that sell these. It is a Delamere chocolate flavoured milk. Unbelievable. I've not just bought one, I've bought 4 of these as well, because I love them. My diet is horrendous. I know I need to address the situation, but the problem that I have is everywhere I go fishing, they either build the lake next to a service station or a takeaway, or they build a takeaway next to where the lake is, and the temptation is always there for me. So my willpower is 0. Got a chocky milkshake, got a belly full of pizza. Let's get back in the peg, and I'll set the scene for the new environment. Right, here we are then, in the new peg. As you can see, it is off the back of this wind. Look at that out there. It looks blissful, doesn't it? If it focuses, look at that. That's where I'd be fishing, just past where those 2 birds are. Got the old... Well, I mean, we had Cecil before, but I don't know what we're going to call this one. That is a piece of kit, let me tell you. And what I will say, whilst I've got that boat out there, is, if you are interested, I'm going to do my little salesman pitch here. Let me just pull up my email here that I've got. So that there is my Sailvay C Series bait boat that you can see there. I'm just going to do a quick, let me just get it up here. Oh my God, my fingers are so cold. Right, so that bait boat there, we're going to be doing a code. And well, I'll put the code in the description as well, but the code is going to be Tom24. Now, if you purchase, let me just get some. If you purchase a C Series Sail Bay boat and use that code, you can receive up to you will receive £100 off when you buy that boat. That is a bad boy bit of kit, let me tell you. Stealth, looks the part, moves through the water like a dream, and then where's the controller? Oh, I'm all over the place here. And then here's the controller. It's got like an all-in-one handset. Oh, there's me, looking good. Get on that double chin. Got an all-in-one handset controller, so you've got a fish finder on there, an echo on there, does everything, you know. You can put the headlights on and off, change the speed, set your home point, autopilot, set your home point, fish finder, depth maps, does everything. A proper piece of kit. And if you're like me, someone that, you know, I fish a lot of venues, but not all of them obviously allow bait boats. So to have something like a C Series, you know, what you're getting for your money is a fantastic piece of kit, but it isn't something that you're going to have to warrant sort of using every week to get the money out of it. Obviously, if you use the code, you can save yourself £100. So, yeah, if you head on over to their website, where's me? Oh. So if you head on over to the website, I know it's a little bit rushed all that, but you get the long and the short of it. Tom24 is the code, and you can save £100 when you buy a C Series, a bundle, whether you buy the boat, the spare batteries, the hopper, the droppers, you know, all the attachments to it, you can save £100. So nice little saving there for everybody. Oh, that pizza's sort of repeating on me a bit now. So yeah, so I've set the scene, I've moved back round here, and I love doing these vlogs because it's just like, I can pick the camera up, film as and when, chill out, nice and relaxed. I feel like I'm engaging with you as the viewer as well a lot more. Like when I'm looking at the screen, I'm almost envisaging sort of a crowd of people. So it's really cool, you know. I can just be more myself, which is what I like. Got my hot water bottle ready for tonight. And I suppose while we're here, I might as well have a little look at the rigs as well, shall we? Here we go. So they're ready to go tonight. Now the first thing you're going to notice, and a few of you will probably comment, oh, that's a short boom. You know what, since joining Corda, obviously I see a lot of the lads use short booms, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to give it a try. Whether it makes a difference or not, I will never know, but I'm giving them a try. As you can see there, it's a barbless venue, and they're very, very strict on it. No, not just because I'm me, it doesn't mean I can get away with it. It is barbless for everybody. Got barbless cranks there, crank X's, size 4s, fish spinner style, and I've just got little whittled down 12mm pop-ups into little barrels. I just think this time of year, them barrels just go in their mouth a lot easier. Again, I could be talking a load of absolute turnout, but that's what I think about the situation. And then we just got IQ2 booms there, about 5-6 inches long. A little bit of putty, anti-tangle sleeve, and that's going to go in the boat. A little bit of corn, a little bit of emp, a few casters, and about 10 sort of pinched 12mm manila, if you like. So that is the gambit that we're going for. It's already worked, as you've already seen with those lovely fish and the ones that I caught before. But yeah, that's my sort of technical bit. That's what I've been catching on out of Bluebell over the past couple of weeks. And that's exactly what I've been using every trip that I come and fish up at Bluebell. Very, very simple, nice, easy fishing with the use of the boat. Job is a good one. Well, I did have 2 rods out, but I've now got 2 rods against the bivvy because the left-hander has just ripped off, and we've got ourselves here what I'd call your classic Bluebell carp. It's really nice scaling, lovely colouring, good upper double, probably a 20-pounder. Haha, that was worth the move, wasn't it? Loveliest of times. There we go, what a touch, eh? Catch him on almost instant after moving round here. Got my hood up. I don't normally like talking with my hood up, I just feel a bit weird, but so cold. Proper classic Bluebell carp, this one. I don't think it's one of the stock ones. This is like the sort of what you'd expect a Bluebell carp to look like, if you know what I mean. Found out quite quickly that this peg's quite shallow on the way in, so I had a bit of trouble with a weed with this one. Right little bull nose on him. Lovely, pristine mouth, look at that. Really small bottom lip. But how's that for a mirror carp? I'll tell you what, I didn't want to move, I'm not going to lie. I'm normally the first person when it's this temperature to sit there and stay put, crack a cherry coke, but let me tell you, I'm glad I moved. What a carp that is, eh? Have a little look at the other side. Again, fish is really warm compared to the outside air. Obviously it'll take a good few days, especially a body of water like this, to start cooling down. But well, I can do it 2 more nights if I want. See how it goes. Look at that. Almost called these like tiger scales, do you know what I mean? Look at how nice that is. Loveliest of times. Right, get this one back, drop the rod back out. No need to spot it up, because like I say, I'm fishing with a boat. I know I keep going on about it, but I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, well, you're using a bait boat. Do you know what? I don't really care. We're fishing. Lovely. Lovely little sight, first thing in the morning. Mr. Robin chilling on the post. One rod off of the rest. I had one last night about midnight. It was absolutely freezing. Behind me there's a little bit of frost on the floor, but not nowhere near as much as what's in other parts of the country. But I think because it's been so windy, excuse me, the frost hasn't really settled. But God, it was cold. The sun is there. I'm going to wait for it to come round into my face, and I'm going to pack up and get out of here. But it's been a great couple of sessions up on Bluebell. I think I've had 6 fish this trip now. 7 fish, 6 or 7 fish. I had a couple of fish out of here the week before, then a couple out of Swan. But next time, or the next vlog, the start of the next vlog, I'm going somewhere that I've been before, and that's Mill Hayes Lakes and Lodges down in Devon. A little bit of luxury carping. Somewhere that's nice, closer to home, a real good head of fish, and I'm going to be staying in one of the luxury cabins. So until next time, thank you very much again for tuning in to my vlog. A massive shout out to our channel sponsor, Go Catch. And if you're getting out on the bank during these cooler months, I wish you the very, very best of luck. Till next time, have a cherry coke and look after yourself. I am back on your screens for another CineVlog, but this is a CineVlog with a little bit of a difference. Not in the sense that I'm not going fishing, because I am, but I am on my way down to my mum and dad's house, where I'm going to jump in the van with the old man, and we are off to France for a week. Now, I always say it, but I know I should fish with him a lot more than what I do. And in fact, the venue that we're going to, Lac De Lesmont, is where we last fished together back in February. Now, we had a really good trip then. I'm not getting the excuses in now, although I am getting the excuses in now. The weather that we've got coming is extremely pants. Not the best fishing conditions, but I know it's not all about catching carp, and this trip isn't about catching carp. You know, obviously I'd love to catch one. We're going to try really, really hard to get as many bites as what we possibly can, but spending the week with the old man is definitely the most important thing. Now, like I say, we fished it actually February of this year, and it fished well the first couple of days, but then it switched off, and it was almost like all the fish had disappeared. Now, the lake is very, very popular. It's busy throughout the whole course of the year. It isn't easy. You know, you really have got to work for the fish, and the slightest change in weather can affect that massively. But like I say, I'm not here to make a barrage of excuses. We're heading out now. Well, I'm going to head down to his house. We're going to jump in his van. Thankfully, there's a big storm just coming in. Storm Dara, or Dara, whatever they want to call it. Down where I live on the west coast, it is absolutely battering us already. But as I travel, well, now I'm in Reading services, it isn't as bad. But all I can say is thank God I am not getting on a ferry tonight. I will be getting on a train. So there's no way that the weather is going to be stopping us from getting over there. But anyway, let's get into it. I might film a little bit of the journey, but you all know what happens. Excuse me. You book your trip, grab your passport, you jump on a train, you drive to a lake in France. Yeah, we are off to Lac De Lesmont. Ears open for a few carp, but plenty of memories. Well, the sun is setting on our first day. It is absolutely Baltic, as you can probably tell by my tired and sort of weathered look. So tonight, we've basically both gone on what is effectively like the down wall, the road bank end as you drive in. Peg 2 and 3 is a double swim. There's a cabin. Dad's in the cabin and I'm in a bivvy. Real good view of the lake. And we've just dropped 6 rods out there with a bait boat. Light is fading fast. I'm going to go through tactics and what I'm using throughout the course of the week. We haven't actually seen anything yet. Just had a little beat there because I slackened off my lines just to try and get a few liners. He's really, really deep out in front, sort of 22, 23 foot. So if there is any carp out there, I'm hoping that we get a couple of liners. If not, we're going to sit up till sort of an hour, 2 hours just after dark, and then get our head down for a proper night's kick. It's been a long day, as is always the way when you travel to France. But yeah, we're out here, we're doing it, we're having a go. It's freezing cold, but you ain't going to catch them sat at home. Little look out from behind the swim. That's my bivvy down there. Dad's nice luxury cabin. Let's go and have a little look in the peg, shall we? And I'll set the scene. Alright, so there's the rods then. Got my sexy new reels on there. Look at them bad boys. With 17-pound long chuck on, fish straight through. The reason why I've got them such a aggressive angle is because the water's down a little bit, so I want the tips down below the surface water, because there's a few swans sort of dipping in and out of here. Got the old bait boat there, looking prime. And this is a little view of the peg. So the far end of the lake's just up there. Now obviously from here I can see absolutely everything. So it's a great vantage point. There is actually only me and Dad on here this week as well, which is really nice. But you know what it's like when lakes are quiet, it can have the opposite effect. Which we're hoping it doesn't have, but there's a bit of cloud rolling in now, and my rods are basically, my left hand rod is in line with that tree, centre of your shot now, on a hump, 19 foot deep, surrounded by 24 feet of water. My middle rod is in line with the V above that peg, 22.5 feet of water, surrounded by 24 feet of water. And then my right hand rod is out towards that peg there, in that dip that you can see, on a really hard spot at 21 feet. So they're at varying depths, all in really deep water, but I haven't got anything shallower than that 19 foot out in front of me. And it's a great area here, so as the fish, you imagine, are coming down the centre of the lake, this is sort of where they're going to headbutt, so to speak, and probably spend a lot of their time out here. But we have got some really cold weather coming sort of later on in the week, and there is some shallows up the top end. There's a peg up the top known as stalkers. I'll try and zoom in up there so you can sort of set this in. Basically it's up there that fishes off the back of this wind. Now I'm going to go for a little mooch up there in a minute with a boat, and I know it sounds bad. I'm going to put the boat in the water and almost see if I can pick anything up on the echo, but if I can't, I'm going to map a few spots so I'm ready to rock and roll if I see a fish and decide to move up there. So there we go, the scene is set, the rods are out. First night in France, you always go to bed, don't you, with great anticipation, because you just never ever know what could happen. Got the bobbins on the floor, which I don't normally do, obviously fishing for those liners. And yeah, who knows, it could rip off, and it could be one of the Lesmont lumps. Oh, a very, very good morning from Lac De Lesmont. As you can see, we've got a lead swinging, we've got a rod missing, and to my sheer amazement, I have got a carp down there in the retainer. Now, we didn't film any of the playing action because Dad was tucked up in bed in the cabin, and it is absolutely lashing it down. But let me tell you there, that fish, regardless of size, is a massive, massive achievement. You know, coming out here at this time of year to get a bite is the one. I'm going to re-drop the rod. That was out in line with peg 8 out there, that one was. So I'm going to re-drop this rod now, and you never know, there might be another carp in it, but what a major result. I am buzzing with that. First morning, first carp. Come on. Right, well, I just got this fish out. It's a little bit bigger than what I thought. 49 and a little bit. Common. Oh, right, old breeze block. Have a look at this. Look at that bad boy. 49 and a little bit of Lesmont common. Lovely. Out of breath I am. Quick look at the other side. A few pictures. And we put them back. Such a powerful fish. There we go. Look at that bad boy. Dad, jump in, quick. And there's Dad. Look at that bad boy.
Good.
Well done. £49.
Well done.
Thank you.
Wicked.
Well, what a result that was, getting that bite. Like I said, it wasn't me coming out of a load of excuses before we come out here, but the weather is due. Well, it is freezing cold now, and it's never the best conditions, certainly when you're coming out here on, you could say it's late autumn, start of winter. Freezing cold winds, high pressure, winds coming from the east. Well, they're currently coming from the west, but they are due to change to the east. But the good thing with that now is getting a bite. I'm not saying that I found a spot out there. I literally got here, excuse me, got here yesterday, roughly guessed where a couple of features were out in front, took the boat over it, found a couple of ups and downs, loaded them up with bait. Well, I say loaded them up with bait, literally a tiny sprinkling of 2.3mm bloodworm pellets. And in there as well, I just put 7 whole and 7 sort of squished down 12mm manillas and just fish yellow pop-ups over the top. You know, I'm only fishing for one bite at a time. I knew it wasn't going to be a case of getting a massive hit and building a big area and just dropping them down and just leaving them, you know, leaving them, and then obviously it's gone. But what it means now is I've got something to build on. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make when they're using a bait boat is they'll see a fish on the echo, drop a bait there. They'll bring it back in, see another fish on an echo, they'll drop it there. By day 3 of your trip, you've got 15, 18 patches of bait out there. When the fish do decide to feed, they're feeding in so many different areas, you're massively reducing your chance of getting a bite. So the area where I've had that fish from, I've put 2 rods not close together. There's a bit of a hump out there. It's 24 feet, comes up to sort of 22.5 feet. And I've got 1 rod sort of on where I caught the fish from, 1 just to the side of it on the right and 1 just to the side of it on the left. And to be honest with you, unless I see any action elsewhere, I'm going to stick to those spots because, like I say, it's very easy to chop and change and start moving rods around. But I'm going to leave those rods where they are because we are under starter's orders. We've got a carp. 49.2 is a big carp as well. You know, it's a big carp even for someone like me that's fished a lot, you know, for a very, very long time. People always say, you know, I've just had a small, you know, any good, mate, a couple of small ones. How big were they? Mid-20s. Nah, no carp small. A fish of 49 pound is bloody massive, let me tell you. And if that's the only fish I catch this week, I can drive away from here with a massive smile on my face. You know, me and Dad have come out here to have a bit of a social, have a bit of a chill. Anything we catch is a bonus. And that fish there has got us underway. I hope it isn't the last one we catch because there's so many big carp out here in Lesmont. But if it is the last fish that we catch, it's 49 pound. It's a massive carp. So yeah, so we're now on Sunday. Rods have been out probably just coming up to 24 hours. It's about 4 o'clock out here now, so it's going to be dark within the next hour. I've dropped them all back out. They're all fishing bang on. Hooks are nice and sharp. Good thing is, we've got the lodge right behind us, which means we can sit there and chill in the warm. Dad's in the lodge, I'm in the bivvy, but we can sit there in the evening, cook a bit of tea. Look at me now, got something in my throat here. Cook a little bit of tea and just have a social, which is what carp fishing's all about. And especially ending the year out here in France with a trip, it's nice just to have a bit of a chill. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to stop rambling on. Obviously, we've got a few days left yet. I'm going to run through exactly what I'm using. Nothing groundbreaking. Again, like I say to everybody, use what you're confident, use what you know works. Fishing in France, yes, they're only carp, and all they are is they're just bigger, and you've got to be a little bit more patient, certainly on a place like Lesmont that does see a lot of foot traffic through the course of the year. Leave them rods out there, don't have the urge to redo them. They're big carp, they'll find the bait, just like that 49 pounder did. Ta-da! It's a complete contrast as we wrap up Sunday compared to yesterday. We had a big wind pushing down here last night, and it's now gone flat calm, and I think this is the start of the cold weather we got rolling in. Yeah, got the keep net down there in case we catch any, in case we catch any bream. Dad's just gone up to the Stalking swim to have a little explore up there. That's up in that top corner. Right the way up there. Look at the zoom on this bad boy. Up there, and then obviously there's a couple of aerators sort of midway. And they're good, you know, because they just keep the water turning over. So all that cold water that's down on the bottom gets recirculated around. And then for those of you that haven't been to Lesmont, you're basically, there's a peg to our right, peg 1, we're in 2 and 3. And then there's a little guide here, I'll show you. You've got peg 4, which is there. Go along the bank a bit. You've got that's where, if you come as a group at Lake Exclusive, there's a nice sort of seating area there, freezers to keep your bait, and a little bit of a tackle shop as well. Go along. 5 and 6 is a nice double peg. And the pegs here are finished to such a high standard. You physically can't get muddy unless you went and dug a hole and jumped in the hole. It's so clean. That's 5 and 6. Going up the bank a bit more, I've got peg 7. Then we go into peg 8, which is where I fished in February. And then a little bit further up, you've got a nice big double swim. That's 9 and 10. and then up the very end you've got stalkers. So there's plenty of room for all the anglers fishing off of one bank, and obviously those pegs out there, sort of 7, 8, 9 and 10, you can fish across to this really nice, well, in the warmer months when the leaves are on the trees, obviously you can imagine how bushy all these trees are, a really nice far margin that you can fish down to, and the fish spend a lot of time patrolling up and down there. And the lake itself is relatively deep. I've always got eyes on you here at Lesmont, which is good, you know, because all these fisheries in France, security, if I ever owned a lake, would be my biggest worry, you know, people potentially stealing fish. I know it's not something that you want to think about, but it does go on. You know, they're not there, they're not going to monitor you 24/7. It's not like fishing in the Big Brother camp, but security on a lake in France, you know, we're all travelling with a lot of tackle. The last thing you want to be doing, especially if you nip to the shops, is there being any sort of problem with any security. But here at Lesmont, you are nice and secure. And then if you follow that down, you'll see at various points you've got these orange markers, and they go all the way along that back margin. And what they do is they just divide the swims up. But when I come before, sorry to ramble on, and fished in peg 8, which is there, I was catching fishing across to the far side. And the lake itself is quite deep, sort of 22 to 24 feet in the middle. And that fish I caught last night, this morning, that was fished down in 23 feet of water. So they do get down in the deep water. Like I say, it's a case of just sitting on your hands and waiting for that next bite. But there you go, a little bit about Lesmont, what little I know about it. It's a fantastic lake, multiple big carp in here. I believe up to over 80 pound, couple of 70s in it, good handful of 60s, 50s, and a lot of backup fish. And they're constantly trickling new fish in here to keep the growth of the fish and to keep the fresh stock turning over. So if you're looking for a lake to book as exclusive for your mates, and they also do a food package as well, and Leader Bailiff, I'm informed, is a very, very good cook. So they do a food package as well if you book the lake exclusively. And all round, it's just a lovely lake to come and have a social. And it's only about 3.5 hours from Calais as well. So what more do you want? Hopefully, what you want is to see some more carp, which is hopefully what we can catch. I'm going to give it a good go anyway. Well, it is Monday morning, and every trip always has a down moment, and unfortunately I lost one the early hours of this morning, which I'm absolutely gutted about. I had a take on the right hand rod, playing it in, it found a snag out in, I would say open water, but it was more down to the margin in my right hand side. Got the boat, went out with a bailiff, got right above it, and as I got above it, well, just before I got above it, should I say, it sort of had a little bit of a surge of power, the fish, and then I say pulled it back to where it was. By the time I'd got out there in the boat, when I got above it, I basically pulled the line, and I got everything back, and I reckon it was just caught around something, and it was almost seesaw in between, and the extra tension that the fish was putting on from the snag end, if you like, was enough just to pull the hook. But on the plus side, I didn't leave any tackle in the fish, which is always a bonus. You know, if I'm going to lose a fish to a snag, I don't want to be leaving any tackle in there. But yeah, gutted. I know bites are going to be few and far between this trip, but, you know, we all have ups and downs. You know, it's not just everybody watching always says, oh, you never seem to have any down moments. Trust me, I'm a little bit peeved off this morning. So I'm in the lodge now, just having a coffee. I got the rod back out there, but I think my chances are going to be at night, so I'm probably going to rest the peg today, maybe go up and try the Stalking swim, just to have a little look. But yeah, we go again. But I've still had a 49 pounder, so I shouldn't be moaning that bad. But it's just, when you lose one, it just is a bit annoying, isn't it? But anyway, enough doom and gloom. Think positively. There's a lot worse things going on in the world. I've lost a fish. So yeah, we go again. Reset, and we go. Well, I said I was going to bring the rods in and rest the peg for the day, and that's what I'm doing. You see the rods are lent up against there, got the sticks there, and I've just got a nice view out of the window. And I have actually just seen a carp show, which is the first carp I've seen with my own eyes show. I've heard them show at night, but I mean, I'm fishing in line with that peg there, about 85 yards out. And don't get me wrong, the fish was a lot further past me. It was sort of onto that far margin, but about 40 yards off that far margin, but it's in the general area, so that's a good sign. But what's an even better sign is I've been shopping. We've got some supplies in. Orangina, I don't care what anyone says, when you come on holiday, that's your holiday drink. Coke, couldn't find any cherry Coke. Red Bulls, and then Baileys. I never ever drink alcohol, but a Baileys coffee never goes amiss. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully sit out the rest of the day, keep looking out into the lake, see if I see anything happening. But I mean, I've hooked 2 fish now, which is better than what a lot of the recent anglers have done on here. Dad had a bit of occurrence as well this morning on one of his rods, and I don't want to go chasing the fish too much. You know, even though I've seen one over there, I'm happy where I am. You know, I've had a couple of bream as well. I don't want to be fishing in the day when the bream are active. I want to put the rod back out just as it gets dark, and hopefully that's going to be the build up to me catching another carp. That's the plan anyway. But for now, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to watch a little bit of television, have a Red Bull, and just enjoy being away. Because I know we all say it's not about catching, and it really isn't, especially this time of year. You know, I've had a really, really busy, good, successful year, and it's nice just to sit here, chill, and almost not have to think about the fishing. Well, the sun is just going down. Just dropped the rod out there. You can see it's 23.3 feet. I'm not sure how well this will zoom in. We've got a couple of hitchhikers here on the boat. Look at that, look. Hitching a ride back to shore. Look at them. Little buggers. Right, I'm going to get this in before they scratch my bodywork up on it. Get the final bobbin on, and we're angling. Look at them. Bloody things. Get out of it. Right, I'm on the move. I should address you first. Good morning. I am on the move. It's been a quiet past couple of days. Haven't really done any updates because there's nothing to update you on. It's been cold, it's been grey, it's been bleak. Nothing's really happened, but I went for a walk about midnight last night because I was like, do you know what, they've got to be somewhere, these fish. And I heard a number of fish down the far end of the lake. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go down there and set the world on fire, but there's definitely carp down the other end. So I'm packing up now. I'm on the move. When I'm in the new peg, I'll update you. Right, here I am then in the new peg, swim 8. Now, for those of you that have watched Cine Carp, you would have seen that I was actually in this peg in February of this year. I started in 8 and Dad was down in the lodge. And I caught from the off, but then it quietened off. Now, what I think's happened is we've both gone up the lodge end for a bit of a social, and I think the fish, even though it's a freezing cold, I mean, if the gust of wind could come through the speakers and hit you for how cold it was, or how cold it is now, let me tell you, it is Baltic. But I stood down here last night for a few hours while Dad manned the rods, and I heard fish down here. So I've not got a lighthouse to go by. There's not, in terms of lakes that I fished in France before, the rewards in Lesmont are incredible. Getting a bite is an achievement. You know, there's a lot of carp in here, but it's deep, you know, and when you get a bite, the reward is massive, and I'd love to go home having had another bite. Don't get me wrong, the only fish I catch of our short trip is a near 50 pounder. I'm never ever going to complain, but there's fish in here to nearly 80, if not over 80 pound at this time of year, and moving on any small signs when you can is definitely worth doing. Just having a little look out now, like I say, this wind is proper, like, I mean, I've got my back to the wind, you see the wind's coming into the back of me, but it is freezing when I turn my head around. But they were definitely here last night. I don't think I'm going to see many fish during the course of daylight hours, but as is always the case at this time of year, they show at night. So that effort last night of coming down here, sitting in the cold, albeit for only sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, has definitely paid off. So I'm going to pan around now, I'm going to show you this peg. A little bit different to where I was before, in a sense I've got a far margin that I can fish over to, and what this also allows me to do is to put rods in different depths. Where I was before, it was very uniform, 23, 24 foot, whereas where I am now, it's quite sort of deep in the middle, down to 22, 23s. But as you go over to that far side, it comes up to obviously nothing, but you've got different depths where you can put your rods. So, here's hoping for one more Lesmont carp. But it has been an incredible trip. It's nice just, like I say, have a little social with Dad, have a chill with Dad. Be nice if he could get a bite as well. But we never come out here with the intention of catching loads. We knew the weather was going to be pretty pony for when we come out here. It was more just a case of coming out and spending a bit of time together. But whilst we're here, obviously we want to try and catch one and put ourselves in the best chance of getting a bite. I know we've already caught one, but another one wouldn't go amiss. Right, I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to show you the swim. Now, one thing with Lesmont is the pegs are absolutely immaculate. They are built to the highest standards. You physically cannot get dirty in them. Plenty of room as well to get the biggest of bivvies in. For an example, that's a one-man RS Tempest, and there is loads of room around it. Bought my wellies, for what reason I do not know. Got the old boat there as well, ready to rock and roll. But yeah, this is the peg that I'm in. So I was all the way up there in the lodge peg. But this is swim 8. And as we look across, this was the rough area I was hearing the fish last night, over towards these red markers. Now, when I fished here before, I was using these red markers as reference points as to where to drop my rigs towards. I know every angler probably does it and fishes the same areas, but areas that are regularly baited are normally areas that do bites. And the thing with them as well, even though my boat's got GPS, they've got red reflective tape on the top. So if you get a bite at night, which I'm hoping I'm gonna, I can get the rods back out nice and easy. But there is also, so just a little bit about Lesmont, there used to be quite a lot of snags all the way down that far margin that entered the water. But good fishery management has taken them out. Alfie and the lads have taken them out. You know, carp don't live in trees. Fished a lake years ago where someone said that to me, carp don't live in trees. They took all the snags out, gave the fish nowhere to hide, so to speak. But obviously this lake's very deep, so they can hide in the mid waters quite easily. But when people are coming and they're fishing up against snags, you know, you're on a holiday venue, people are in the next pegs, fishing into snags, if you're not on your rods all the time, can be dangerous, and they're big carp. And the last thing that Alfie and the boys want is one of their big prize carp getting stuffed up in a load of snags. So there's no snags that enter the water along that far margin. And there was a peg up the top end, or there is a peg up the top end, peg 4. And for those of you that have been here before will know that that used to have a lot of snags, and it used to be one of the more prolific pegs. But since they've taken the snags out, the fish are moving around a lot. Now, midway through the year, a tree fell in down the margin of peg 8 to the right where I am now. And fish that are used to being or living in snags will generally tend to find any bit of cover they can. Now, even though that looks quite savage, that's fell into fairly shallow water, but it still is enough cover for a carp. So that's going to be an option for a rod as well. I'm probably going to bait up a spot there and then maybe put a rod there tomorrow night. But for now, I'm going to go straight over onto this far bank, 3/4 of the way across to where I thought I heard them last night. And whilst I've got it out the van, perfect product placement. Got a bag of your finest there, 16mm manila freezer. Now all I've been doing and all I did to catch that carp was a nice smelly yellow manila pop-up that had been soaked in isotonic and pineapple goo. The Caller boys go on about that all the time, so I thought, you know what, why not give it a go? And literally 5 whole boilies and 5 crushed boilies. Minimal amount. Given the time of year, if I was coming here in the warmer months, don't get me wrong, I'd probably be absolutely levering the baiting because they're big carp. But I want to try and fish for one bite at a time, and it's certainly paid off so far. So I'm going to go 2 light on the bait, and then on my third one, I'm probably going to go with about 50 boilies and 50 crushed boilies and give them a little bit, see if that extra bit of bait is what they're looking for. There you go, we've set the scene. Everything's looking good. The old bivvy's nice and tidy. That's another thing that I like, a nice tidy bivvy. Look at that. Got my new boxes there. The Ridge Monkey boys sent me them. Bloody good they are. Storing all your gear in there stops them getting all damp and that, all your extra bits that you feel you need to bring to France. And I've also got a bit of a worktop to work from as well. So it's just nice and comfortable, nice and convenient fishing. Obviously got long hours of darkness. The last thing that I want to be doing is being sat in a messy bivvy. So there you go. The stage is set. We just need another Lesmont carp to play ball. New rods go out. I'm having myself a coffee. It's the Law in the winter Bailey's coffee, and that's, I'm assuming, salty caramel. And if you haven't been to France and not had these, have you even been to France? Tendry croque, whatever that means. Bloody lovely is what I translate it to in French. Cheese and ham toasties. I eat so many of these. Got a frying pan down there ready to rock and roll. The old sliders on. I'll tell you what, these on here, sealskin socks. Blooming amazing bit of kit they are. And then we've got the peg out there. No rods in position, and I have actually just seen a carp show in line with that tree about 40 yards off that far bank. So that is a good sign, but these rods are not going out till just before dark because I've had a couple of bream and they seem to be a little bit ravenous, but they're not that bad for out the hours of darkness. And it's sort of 1:30 now, and I don't want to redo the rods or put the rods in now and have to redo them again before dark. So I'm gonna have myself a little tender crock and a Bailey's coffee. The value ain't my life. Oh, and them bad boys, look at that whole pack of them I've smashed in. Orangina, the drink of holiday. Well, like I've already said, I wish, I'm just bending down to get something, which is all going to become apparent in a minute. Like I said, I wish I could put a puff of this air through your speakers so you could feel how cold it is. It is freezing. I went to bed last night, got my rods out in the new peg, heard probably about 50 fish. They were mega active. Woke up this morning, nothing. And it's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I've only just got out of bed. The rods have stayed out there. I'm going to re-drop them just before dark, but they've stayed out there. Now, it would be, in most circumstances, probably the right thing to do to come up off the bottom and fish with zigs. But there's a lot of big fish in here. Big fish have got to eat, and there's also a few obstacles in the margin. And I don't want to be hooking a big carp on light line with a zig and worrying about it coming off. I'd rather simply not hook one. So I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go 2 on the far side, which is where I was last night. And then there was a lot of fish showing sort of midway in sort of no man's land. So I'm just going to drop a rod there. But I have got these in my hand, the old Wheel of Fortune and a chipper, because my old man has leapfrogged me, gone down in the Stalking peg, which is the shallowest part of the lake. Well, I say shallow, it's still 16 feet. It's his third consecutive day of going down there, doing the nights up in the cabin, and he's just caught one. So it's a right buzz. So Dad's just had one. So that's where we're going to go now. We're going to go down and see it. I've already seen it. I netted it for him. It's not a massive carp, but you know what? This time of year, it does not matter one bit. We knew this wasn't going to be an easy trip given the weather, but now we can both drive away from here having caught a carp each. So let's go and have a look at it, shall we? Here he is. Hold hand.
Oh,
Lift its tail up a bit. You're like Ken Townley.
£32.
I always think deep water lakes, they take a bit of a while to return. Oh, nibble there. There it goes.
Lovely.
This is Stalkers, right on the end of a freezing cold northeasterly, where you wouldn't think they'd be. There must be a couple down here. Mind you, must be a lot down here if they picked up that shoddy old rig of yours. Right old contraption.
Yeah.
Well, no sooner has Dad put that one back, I've just had the call. He's only gone and got another one, isn't he? It's hotting up, but yeah, it's freezing cold and it's cooling down. Yeah, so I reckon he might have to make way for me to have a little go in there tomorrow. Sharing's caring and all that. Let's go and have a little look at it, shall we? Here's the old second one. 43.5. Getting a bit bigger.
On that contraption of a rig again.
Lovely. Get a bit of detail in the old mouth. Lovely clean fish. Well, well, well. We have a rod missing. After Dad's couple of bites yesterday and me having to wait for what seems like an eternity to get a bite on the coldest night of the trip. Bear with me, I'm going to show you how cold it is. That is ice on the rods. We have got ourselves another Lesmont carp. And he's another good one as well. I would say he's sitting around the 40-pound mark. But it is absolutely Barry Baltic this morning. Excuse me. Everything's frozen. Got a nice little white cap on the old bivvy. It's not cold enough to scribe into it though. The size of the fish I've caught. Or should we see if we can be super carpy? Oh yeah, we're big carp. That's the first carp that I caught. Then Dad had a... There we go. And then he also had a... So far, we've had a 49, a 32, a 43, and the one that I've got in the retainer. Look at this, such a glorious lake, honestly. If you're looking for places to go in France, check out Lesmont. You could hear a pin drop. Absolutely. I say absolutely a lot. I edited a video the other day and I say it a lot, but it's such a good word, isn't it? Check that out. Absolutely lovely. But no, really is a phenomenal fishery. Look how clean the pegs are. You physically cannot get dirty. And I'm in peg 8. That's where I've moved to. Lesmont peg 8. That's where I fished in February. I had a couple of fish from. This one was on my left hand rod, which was, let me take you to the water's edge. See that orange pole? Just to the left, you've got that group of 6 trees. In front of that, by a couple of rod lengths. But what I would say is this is the first morning where I've seen a real display of sort of silverfish. There is a lot of silverfish in here, which is why it's key that when you're putting the bait in, I mean, actually that fish last night, I caught that over more bait than what I caught the first one on. That was the one over that I said I was going to put out with like 50 boilies on, 50 holes, 50 chops. And when you're given the temperatures -2, -3 last night, I think if I was to come here in the warmer months, you'd definitely need a lot of bait. Because it's got to go down 20+ feet as well. And you've also got a lot of competition here with the silverfish. But I'm going to spin you around so you can see me. Here I am, looking about 70 years old. One thing I've noticed as well is I'm looking older as each week goes on. But as a week goes on, I seem to age about 8 months, 10 months. But it is what it is. I'm not complaining. Here for a good time, not for a long time. So yeah, it's been a very, very good trip out here to Lesmont. Like I say, when we first arrived here, I didn't expect it to fish nowhere near as well. Obviously, we've only done 5 nights we're doing in total. So it's really, I say a short trip. It's not a short trip, but it is a short trip. So yeah, I said to Dad, you know, given the time of year, how the lake normally fishes in the winter, it can be very tricky given the weather. Probably the weather's been the biggest thing for us. Super high air pressure. This is the first day actually, it looks like it's going to be bright skies, so we've been blessed with a little bit of cloud, but I knew it was going to be tricky. Dad said the same, we knew it was going to be tricky, but we've landed 4 now between us, so what more do you want, you know? And all the whilst you're getting bites, there is some mega big carp out there. And what Alfie's done is he's introduced recently a handful of new stockfish. And what this does is it just not only sort of preserves the longevity of the venue because you're putting the fish in and they're carrying on to grow, but it also spurs the older fish on to have a feed. Now, whilst we haven't caught any of the stockfish, we have caught 4 of the original stockfish, which is really, really good. So it shows that the stockies are doing their job and the original, so I would say big uns. You know, I know we've had them up to just under £50, but for what this lake has got to offer, just under £50 is about the average of what you can expect to catch out here. You know, it's such a phenomenal average size of fish. Alfie, since he's been here, he's also been talking about his other 2 lakes, which is Bowes and also Blue Water as well. He's doing so much work there. Since he's been here at Lesmont, for those of you that have been here, he's knocked the shower and toilet block down, and that's being rebuilt ready for when the new season opens. And he is also building a new clubhouse over on Blue Water, I believe. It's either Blue Water or Bowes. Big clubhouse, fences all around them. He really is doing a lot of work over here. You know, I think one thing that certainly when I go to France, I want a bit of comfort as well as good fishing, and I think he has got both of those absolutely nailed on. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to come to Lesmont and catch 50 carp in a week, but if you do come here, you have a chance of hooking one of these carp, you can leave having caught something that is very, very special. And like I say, they're big as well. You know, I think the biggest fish in here currently is just shy of 80, maybe even over £80, which when you consider it's only 12 acres in size, that's a big fish. But yeah, Leader Bailiff here at Lesmont really does look after you. Such a great guy, constantly walking around. You know, you almost feel bad bivvying up in the swims because they're that perfect. You know, you physically can't get dirty. I mean, I've got the same clothes on now that I wore when I first arrived, minus a little bit of bream slime off of a few bream that I've caught. But to be honest with you, I'd quite happily put the clothes back in the wardrobe and we rewear them when I go fishing next week. So yeah, it really is clean, peaceful, and ultimately it's safe. You know, there's cameras all around here. That's not to stare and watch what you're doing all week. That's purely and simply to stop anybody coming in and as a deterrent to stop people coming in. You know, you can't go around this lake without being on camera at some point, and I really, really like that. You know, we're all travelling a long way, we've all got a lot of money's worth of kit, and the last thing that we want is the sort of fear of if you go down the shops, and you know, when you come to France as groups of mates, what do you all do? One of the days you might nip down the pub, or the tobacco is what they're called out here. You know, you might go for a drink. You don't want your gear sort of left unattended and not in a safe space, whereas here, absolutely perfect. So if you haven't checked out Lesmont, Bowes or Blue Water, I seriously recommend checking them out. This is the second time this year I've been out here now, and I will carry on coming back here because I know all the whilst those rods are in the water, if one of them rips off, it is going to be a real big one. And all the swims as well, you see here, these are trays with holes in the bottom. Obviously they do recycling as well, so you put your bottles in there, the holes are in the bottom because the water drains out. Little pointless fact there, but I thought I'd tell you. You've got bins as well in every swim, benches, and then in a couple of pegs you've got sort of like little pergolas which you can sit under if you doubled up with your mates. You know, 9 and 10's a double swim, 5 and 6 is a double swim. So yeah, they have really, really catered for absolutely everybody here. And like I say, these pegs are immaculate. So I'm pleased that I've got another one. Really, really pleased, you know. I don't ever really show, like, well, I do show how happy I am because I'm happy to catch any carp from anywhere. But when you've had to sit out here, I mean, Dad's lording it up in the cabin. I can see he's got a bit of frost on his cabin roof, but I know full well it's about 25 degrees in there. But, you know, it's been a really, really nice time that we've been out here. It's been nice to share it with Dad. Obviously, we've had a couple of fish each now. We've had a loss each as well, but that's part of carp fishing. But ultimately, we've had a good time, and the average size of fish is really, really good. So yeah, I'm going to have myself a coffee, warm up a little bit, just wait for this sun to come out, because as you can see, it's just rising now. And we'll get this fish out and I will show you it. But we have got ourselves another Lesmont carp. Right, well, here we go then. My second bite, second fish, 20 kilo if we're going European, 44 pound exactly. Oh! God, they're freezing, these fish are. Come on, Mr. Carp. There he is. 44 pound of Lesmont common carp. It's cold though. You see that frost this morning. They'll still feed. I'm spinning round. It's got only got one eye. That's probably why I caught him. Couldn't see what it was eating. Looks like something's actually pecked it. There we go. 44 pound of lovely common carp. Lovely. Well, I'm not sure how well you can see. I can't really see the screen. It's that bright. I even got the old polar salopettes out now with the coat on. It is bloody freezing. Stood in the sun. Feels like I'm on holiday on the beach, but the minute you go in a bit of shade, it is so cold. In a way, I'm glad tonight is our last night because it's due to go even colder than this, and I'm not sure how much of this I can handle. But the reason why I've dropped back on, oh, I've got to get my receiver actually. I've just gone down the bottom end into that stalker's peg. Dad's let me have a little go in here today. I've just got the rods out down there. I've just come up to get my thermals on because it is that cold down there. So yeah, one last sort of roll of the dice. I'm going to do the day in here, and I'm going to aim my rods back down this way tonight, and hopefully I can nick another bite early morning before we depart away. But whew, it is freezing. I ain't been this cold for a long time. Anyway, I'm going to go into Stalkers. I'm going to show you down in this peg here because it's a nice, quiet, intimate little corner, and there's always the odd carp lurking around down here. Right, so from the comfort of my chair, which is actually in a line of sun, so it's quite warm, this is the stalking peg, and as you can see I've got 2 rods out there. Slack line, something that I wouldn't normally do, but I've had a couple of liners already within the first hour or so, so there's definitely fish about moving around. And then this is the peg itself, so you've got like a real small, secluded little bay. It's where the lake just tapers off at the top end. So you've got a road that runs behind Lesmont. And you see there's a little bit of lorry traffic, nothing ever too much. And this bay is about 15, well, the water's up now, but normally between about 13 to 17 feet. And everybody always goes down the bottom end, but there's always fish that come up this top end. And as you can see, when that tree comes through the sun, when that sun comes through the tree, it lights up that back margin, and the fish spend a lot of time patrolling, not tight to it, but just along it. So I've gone on both rods, my little yellow manillas, and I've just put 15 boilies crushed up in each hopper and dropped them out there. There's the rods just sitting there. So it's a case of sitting back, chilling, keeping gravel noise to a disturbance. Obviously underfoot is all gravel here. Keeping that to a disturbance, and hopefully we can catch ourselves another Lesmont carp. Lovely. No focus, but as much focus as I've got to go into the gym there. Well, it's the morning after the night before. Yesterday I was down in the Stalking swim, as you would have seen. Thought I might have had a chance, couple of liners, nothing. Put the rods out last night, nothing. We got freezing cold fog and mist now. There's frost all over the bivvy. But on the plus side, it's the end of our trip. It's only been a short break, but we've shed 4 fish between us. And you know what? I can't wait to get back home and get in the warm. The last few days has been absolutely Baltic. But we've had 4 fish, couple of losses, which isn't great, but we've rectified it. And the last 3 fish that we put between us, we've landed, which is always a bonus. I've had a couple of bass as well, few bream. I've had a 30-pounder and 3 40-pounders. What more can you want from a short break out in France? So yeah, just want to say massive thank you to Alfie, the guy that obviously owns and runs Lesmont, for letting us come out here and experience what amazing fishing and facilities this place has to offer. Lee, the bailiff on site, for looking after us. And if you are on the lookout for a getaway to France, I seriously recommend you check out either Lesmont, Bowes, or Bluewater. Fantastic set of venues that have got some mega carp in there, and if we've been out here and caught when the temperature's been well below freezing, I dread to think how good these venues are in the warmer months. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you to our channel sponsor, Go Catch, and I will see you on the next adventure.